All right, traders, welcome on back here this Wednesday, January 3rd, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Every time you hear my voice, typically it is right around 2:30 here this afternoon. So great to see Alex, Bill, Linda, and all of our students and members alike inside our live trading room. Just let me know if you can hear me loud and clear there. Should be good to go across both sides here, just our trading room and inside social media, all of our streams and platforms alike, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, etc., at Cyber Trading U. Just always look to subscribe, follow, be a friend, tell a friend, as we say. Just spread the good word of Cyber Trading University. Hey, knowing when we're going live right now, when we're not, and so on and so forth. Especially, we look to invite you inside our live trading room. But for our students there, hey, we got class coming on up at 3:05 Eastern Time, coming up right at heading into this afternoon. So I'm trying to get a little QR code popping up on the stream. There we go. There we go. Now we're all set. All right. So 3:05 Eastern Time, the Phase 2 stock course continuing live this afternoon. Continuing our discussion really about preparation behind trading the volatile market sessions. We're focusing more on the market open, going back in hindsight at least, and really going through just level 3 and level 4 as far as why some of the trades that we called out earlier ended up making the exact moves that they made. Not just the fact, ABVC is moving up right now, but where were the big levels? Where were the actual opportunities? And full transparency with that. You know how I shoot. So I tell you, hey, like if this was a great setup here, there's a good chance it would be a false breakout, right place, wrong time. You got to take a tiny loss. But if there's a chance for a second opportunity, then that's what you would also want to follow up on later throughout the day. So, hey, actually looking at this ABVC, it's kind of easy for me to recite that here. Just looking at the chart. Looks like it made a breakout, but then made a sharp pullback. This is just at 2:10 Eastern Time, 2:15. And then just now, it seems like it's trying to move back up to resistance. It looks like even on my level 3 at 220 on the far right side of my page, you can see about 20,000 shares sitting there at $2.20, even about 22,000 sitting at 225. So, hey, for right now, this stock, we'll come back to it even. The reason I'm not so jumpy to follow this ABVC, this thing's been trading about 79, 80 million shares across the entire day prior to this candle here. This stock was trading about 3.2 million shares on average a day. Don't get me wrong, that's not terrible, but it's definitely pretty exhausted. Let's just do one more thing here to be certain. Yeah, this thing's on a 6 million share float nearly. That's tiny. This thing's trading, over 10 times its float right now. So that's where I'm a little skeptical of seeing continuation on a trade like this. I wrote that in the trading room just before. Said I'd be really surprised if this ends up making another run back up to the highs. But, it's tradable in the sense of spread and liquidity, order book, and whatnot. So I'll come back to this. I'll definitely come back to this just at the end. Not going to commit to it just yet. All right, so we got class coming on up at 3:05 Eastern Time. So with that said, just kind of make it quick here, a little lightning round edition of our afternoon meeting. We'll start off at the top here, Nexi, and work our way down. I know a lot of us took care of their days paid today, if not more, on Nexi. The issue on this stock was that this had such a thin book, and it had a pretty big spread throughout the majority of this run up. So if you were able to trade it early in the morning, get in on it within the first hour, first 20 minutes of the market opening up, from there, it ended up making that sharper pop. It fizzled out. It popped again, and then obviously fizzled out. So history repeats itself with a stock like this, not just in the sense of, pop and drop, but just look long term. When you see it happen long term, then it means it's not really a good swing trade. So even if this does gap up tomorrow higher by any freak, occasion, if I'm, hey, showing a little egg in my face with that, that's fine. Couldn't care less. These are not swing trades. These are day trades specifically. And, for the traders that did well on this stock earlier today, I can guarantee you that they're not in it right now. So I think that we're done on this trade here. We'll move on from it. There's the APVC number 2. So I guess we didn't really start too far away from the top, but there we are as well. We'll come back to it one more time at the end. Now the SIDU, this was even more crazy than the Nexi. This had an even thinner book, larger spread. It was 15, 20 cents a pop. So yeah, it popped up pretty nicely from 7 to 14 nearly. But again, we see this every day. Just because it made that move didn't mean it was easy or tradable even. It's trying to inch back up a little bit right now. Let me just zoom in on the daily chart. That's the only thing I'm kind of semi remotely interested in, because back a few days before the end of the calendar year, this thing popped up to 1540 and then dropped. So it's still a ways away from that. It's still a ways away from that top. So yeah, I'm not too jumpy on this SIDU either here. If you're already in it, roon you on, but always a lover, never a hater. But we just keep moving forward. I want to make sure our students are getting themselves in trades that give them the best opportunity to make money, not just a casino stock. You know what I mean? MTC was pushed up earlier today, but at least looking at the order book now, it seems like this had somewhat of a spread. I mean, like, oh, now it's opening up more. I was going to say somewhat of a tight spread for that matter, but yeah, I mean, maybe earlier is a little bit more tradable. Has good orders out there across the bid and the ask, but right now, another stock that kind of ran its course. Remember what we went over in the afternoons, just even last week in phase one? A large part of my scanning in the afternoons is really just based off stocks near the highs or near the lows, respectively. AISP, another pop and drop. Voyager, ooh, this one actually made a pretty good recovery from yesterday. It was a great short yesterday throughout the day. I could say that I was looking for the short. Unfortunately, I'll tell you the truth, I got stopped out break even because it was a risky trade to try and short a stock coming off good news. So it's not really my cup of tea, but I saw a good opportunity. I took a stab at it and just took me out, and I was like, damn. So ended up beginning to pull back, and yeah, this thing made a nice bounce back today. Hey, so heading into this afternoon, it's too flat for my liking, but if it ends up popping up by the end of this meeting, hmm, maybe. I'll write it down on our side list here. Come back to it. All right, just kind of scrolling down the rest of the gainer side. Market's gone nowhere today, so I can't really lean up or down too much anywhere, but I'm just going across both sides as always, seeing if there's anything name brand or not name brand, anything that's been a familiar name to CTU perhaps. JMIA is one, but not, again, not really looking that great here. Just more slow, sideways. Man, everything else on the gainer side just pretty much washed up. Not really looking too great there. If there is anything else looking good, moving on its own, up over 5%, just type it in the chat board right now, folks. Just let me know. EJH, that's going nowhere. Let's see if there's anything looking shortable at least here. Easy to borrow, shortable. Flex, it's actually inching back up a slight amount. Is it possible it could try and fill more of the gap? Maybe, but I normally for these types of dead cat bounces, at least directly coming off the news drop, they make a small little bounce, but then it just fizzles out. So I'm not fully expecting like a great move up higher, at least today. Maybe I could do it over time, like tomorrow, this week, whatever. Got Xerox down over 11%. This is actually a pretty good short, dropping off right now. It's at the lows. I'll tell you what, we had 0 stocks that I put on the main list. I try and do a good job of keeping it simple and not really building out too big of a watch list. But all right, so first one here, Xerox, nice drop off and good short, easy to borrow for right now on my broker. Wasn't Xerox like back like 2000s or whatever? It was like $100 stock, if not more. It's crazy. I have to go back more than 20 years at this point for the .com bubble. Yeah, 140 then dropped down over time. But all right, let's see what else we got here. Weight Watchers, not bad either. The stock's more of a short squeeze stock, if anything, meaning that whenever we day trade it on the way up, it's just quick move up and then it just tanks because more people short it than anything. It just pulls back. Well, right now it's actually a nice drop off throughout the afternoon, and it looks like it's trying to make a small bounce, but I actually like it here. I'll add it with the Xerox as a potential short. All right, let's see if there's anything else that we got here heading into the close. We got actually a nice little play here on CLSK. Let me bring up, because I only have it right in front of me here. I'd normally show the NASDAQ Bookviewer level 3, that is, but I got Bookmap up right here. It's just easier for me to just show really fast. But got a 105,000 share iceberg order sitting on the bid. This just popped up right now on the CLSK trade. So you know what? I like this stock more for the fact that we were following it in the morning. We put it on our morning watch list. Not only that, we're following it in class. Chuck calls out Mara inside our live trading room, which of course we love as well. It's up like 3% or whatever. CLSK is barely, well, it's down actually. It's down 1%. For right now, Chuck, I'll keep these on the side, but they're obviously tradable. And, for anyone that does well on them, I recommend for you to put them on your personal list. But man, I mean, we're really looking at a boring market here right now, folks. We only got 2 stocks on our main list, both of them out like shorts, technically, for right now. Bill says a good day for class. I couldn't agree any further. That is a great day for class. Hey, we had a couple of things moving though throughout the mid-afternoon. MSOS, it's like a pot ETF, ended up making some sort of pop and drop earlier. I don't think Rich attached any news to it from before. I was asking for it. I'm sure even if there was any, these are like teases. They're always pop and drop moves up and down. It's trying to make another run back up, which is the reason why I'm bringing it back up again in front of you. And like it's actually trending back up the last 30 minutes. So MSOS is an ETF. We normally do not trade ETFs. We normally stay away from them. Strongly recommend new students to stay away from them either way. If you have level 4, if you got Bookmap, then it's definitely a good one for you. But it's liquid. It's within our price range, and with that, I don't mind it. All right. So again, let's just go back to the side list. If there's anything else looking good, folks, just up or down, last call. Just type it in the chat board here. ABVC. I guess for right now, we're not really at a excess of stocks. I'll add that for right now. And the Voyager, not really too thrilled with this one just yet. It's like, it's up a lot percentage-wise, but it's way too flat. I mean, you tell me, is this thing really looking that great of a trade here? Higher lows, but it hasn't made that big pop just yet. It has really thin volume on the book. Spread's not horrendous. Bill says, no. And I would agree. The only selling point is simply the fact that it hasn't tanked. And it leads you to ask why. And the only other thing that would lead me to ask why it's making this move is, well, what if it's a buyout? Is it a buyout? Is Voyager a buyout? Ooh, we might have something here. Voyager Therapeutics. This is yesterday, of course, so it made the pop up yesterday at least. But enters capsid license agreement, strategic collaboration, blah 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 blah. I don't know. All right. Receives preliminary non-binding proposal letter. Yeah, so I don't think it's a buyout. This thing looks flat though. So I'm going to pass on it for the meantime. If it pops just afterwards, I'm more focused on the ones we already put on our main list. Just as I moved away from the MSOS, it actually just broke that 7 level. So it looks really strong in terms of just a chart. And then again, you got a couple more here. Perhaps the ABVC has one more life left to it. And then again, you got the shorts, maybe, Weight Watchers perhaps on the way back down, and Xerox, maybe if that could begin to break lower. So we'll start with that, and then we'll go from there. All right, so folks, again, last call. If there's anything else looking good, just let me know. Chuck says FWBI pushing. Let's take a look. Not terrible. Well, it's terrible. It's the order book, but not a bad shout. I mean, it's trying, right, Chuck? It's trying. But I'm not a fan of that order book there. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up here in the meantime. One more. Ravi, we got you here. Novetis has a deal with, that's what we just read before, the VYGR, that news. It's not like a buyout, but just whatever, some agreement, whatever it may be. But, too flat for our liking here for right now. We'll come back to it around 3:15, 3:30 if we need to. Rich will be on the mic at least in about 15 or so minutes. All right. Hey, for all of us on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc. Again, just make sure that you're hitting the follow, like, subscribe buttons right there on YouTube, namely at Cyber Trading U, as well as all of our other social media streams and platforms. But we look forward to seeing you inside our live trading room. And again, for our students there, Gold, Platinum, Diamond, CTU students, you got the Phase 2 course continuing this afternoon. I'm going to refill up on water, recharge the mouth here. I'll be good to go at least by class time. It's been a long day of talking. Good to be back into the swing of things here. Pretty much after finishing up the holiday season, we had to roll over some of the classes, a couple weeks behind. So we're just wrapping up the December curriculum. It's been a long day of talking. Looking forward to more, though, heading up this afternoon, though, folks. I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.